We'll still make it work. Kid at home, stop being dead. All right. Tuesday, May 6th, we get to move on to our final thing today. Yesterday's test is on Skyward. It's not over here. That would require me traveling through time. You are meeting with your day of service group today during Best.
Thank
You
you.
do not go to Best at all. You will be going to whatever room it is that you are supposed to be going to for it. If you don't know what room you're going to, if you want to come see me at the end of class, I can tell you. I have a list of every kid and where they're going, and I'm happy to let you know. When you go there today, they are going to be explaining what you are doing for the activity, how that day is going to work. They're also going to talk about lunch, because each different room does a different thing for lunch and stuff like that. And then, the last part, do you remember what part of the book today's shirt is for when it says do it for Johnny?
No.
Oh
It's when it
yeah,
killed that
he
one
was
kid.
in the hospital and he went to
He who?
Johnny.
Dally.
When the 100 people
This
flocked
one,
to
Dally is in the hospital, and he takes the switchblade, and he's talking about the rumble, and he's like, we're going to win it. We're going to do it for Johnny. Because, Johnny can't drag himself there. And so that was the whole idea.
Skill issue.
I know, right? He's just a cool
Dally's
kid.
just such a smart.
We're good to go there as far as the test went. Did you guys have questions as far as yesterday's test went that I can help with? Yes, good job. Go ahead and spit it out. But yeah, you can't have bubble gum unless if I see it or if you share it, then I make you spit it out and charge you points. Thank you for bringing my attention to it. I know. You made it really easy. Normally I have to try and catch kids, but you waved your hands and made sure I looked at it. That was kind of you.
How many points did you have?
Sadness for one kid, joy for everyone else. I'm assuming no issues with yesterday's test and problems. Oh yeah, and I do apologize for that first question. I went back and double checked it, but so the Josh Swinson for the narrator, I had spelled it with an O and with an E, and then for some reason when it updated, it got rid of the ones with an E, which was the correct spelling, and kept the wrong spellings because I try to predict kids who are going to spell things wrong. So a lot of times on your typey answers, I'll have like 5 different versions of it trying to predict your issues. And for some reason this time it kept all of my wrong predictions and got rid of the real answer because Canvas hates me. So I went back in there and changed that. Now, if you had the wrong answer the first time and then changed it to say something the second time, I went back and checked your first answer and then gave you credit on the second test because again, I'm not a hater. Did I predict your question again? Skills! Yeah, so anytime you went through there, I went back and checked both of your versions, and if you had it right the first time and then changed it to like Gil Jackson, I went ahead and gave you credit because you had it right and then Canvas yelled at you. What's up, Gummy?
Y'all are stupid.
Can I chew gum and not make bubbles?
Yeah, starting tomorrow. But like once you spit it out today, you're banned for the day. And then tomorrow, as long as I don't see it, you're good to go. Or you can put it in today, but if I see you chewing it, I get to charge you points. So it all depends on how sneaky
Even
you
more
feel like being.
points?
But also realize you've got 21 kids in here who are all going to be watching you, hoping to catch you so they can call you out.
Look over there. For
I
a
wish you
second.
the best. I can look over there. Are the other 21 people staring at you going to look over there?
Obviously.
That's where the question comes in.
Oh.
Those of you who get a button, this means you on the first attempt, you got the 54 or higher on your first one through. These are my people who get button. What you have to do is,
I get a button.
oh my goodness gracious, you have to send me picture and then I will print it. It takes 24 hours. So if you give it to me today, I will have it for you tomorrow. So like Henry, who sent it to me during first period, 24 hours after that would be tomorrow's first period. I will have it for you then. If you don't want a button, you don't have to have one. I mean, that was just my way of trying to reward those of you who pushed. Hi, Henry again.
Is it too late to change it?
To change your picture?
Yeah.
No, I'm not printed it yet.
Okay, can I?
Sure.
Okay.
Just make sure you email me by the end of the day, because that's the one I have on my file. Okay.
Uh-oh, Henry.
Now we're good to go there. Go you guys on that one.
I didn't say that.
I got through all the ones that had been turned in by the test yesterday, which all seem to have the theme of homework, which I found entertaining. I have not had a chance to read the ones since then because I went to the track meet last night and then I was having to take care of other issues today. But I will be reading them so far. I've been enjoying them and the complainy bits that go into it. Don't forget the part where you had to reply to other people's, although a lot of you are already doing that. So technically you still have a little bit of time because I don't think I'll get to these until after school today because of this whole teaching thing. Hi, Willow.
You spelled awesome wrong.
That's awesome. I did. Good job. What's up?
Mine wasn't complaining about homework.
You are correct.
You were
Mine was
complaining
about the new schedule and homework.
Yours was the screen time and eyes on phones and stuff like that, which
Well,
I thought was
why
also
not,
good.
Caleb? Bro started
Not
to
all of them were about homework. I just said I saw a
Most
theme.
of them were about homework. Did you get the hint?
Info. Hey, right. I meant to say Madison.
Wait, this is really unrelated, but why do we have to go block schedule next
I haven't
year?
seen it yet.
That is unrelated because they hate you.
Yep.
No, like actually why? 'Cause I don't want to do it.
I don't either.
I
No
can't
teacher.
sit through a class that
I feel the same way. No teacher in our building wants it, and it's not from us. It's from the people above us, and they said, this is what you have to do because we
Those
hate
people
children.
above us.
And we said,
suck.
but we don't hate children. And they go, I don't care. Hi, Evan.
Today's actually National No Homework Day, so we can't have homework.
Works for me. I'm not giving you homework anyway.
I already have
What's
homework
up?
for math.
Why are we the guinea pigs?
You're not the guinea pigs.
We had to test the new iLearn thing, and we have to test the new schedule.
Oh, we're not
For
testing.
our-
The
well,
other
for
two,
our,
other two schools did. We were the last ones to do it because we fought it forever.
yeah, but we have to.
So that's the opposite of guinea pig.
Look, bro,
No, but we
I
have
didn't-
to test it for our school though.
No, because we're actually gonna do it.
Just yes. Just nod your head. It's easier. Okay. Hi, Benta.
What other two schools? There's 4 in the district.
Correct. Both Fall Creek and HSE have already been doing it. Home Kids, we're just going to be switching over to our new books. I'm going to pause it because this is not very exciting to watch.
Princess Bride.
Wait,
Home Children, we now have our own copy of the book. Mine is the old version,
it's old.
which is a little smaller. I mean, not this wise. It's the same story. It's just not as big.
As math.
I think yours has slightly larger print and mine has smaller print. This is your copy of the book. You can go ahead and write in it. You get to keep it. Again, if you want to write on the outside of it, so to make sure. Same thing with Post-it note. Should not stay on outside. As soon as you have written my name and your name in there, then you should go ahead and put it on the inside of book so it doesn't disappear. Hi, Madison.
I forgot what I was gonna say. Sorry.
Aw. Alright. So, with book, we'll get into it. One, there is a really long introduction that we get to skip part of. There's also a really long thing at the end we get to skip part of. So it's not quite as bad as you
So it's
think.
not like Jordan.
But I do enjoy watching you guys freak out just because it brings me joy and I didn't want to stop you from having that fun.
LeBron.
Yep, good job.
I'm the bad guy.
I don't think so.
With this one,
There's no way.
how many of you guys have seen the movie Princess Bride?
Yeah, and I'm the bad guy.
If you have, one, I highly recommend watching the movie. I'd be more than happy to do an after-school watching with you.
It's a romance.
This one, if you've seen movie, it is chapter 5 of the book. They took one chapter. I was wrong.
6 last time, goofball.
I did not. I thought it was 4. I was one off. It was chapter 5.
You said it was 6 last time, young.
One of us is right. One of us is you.
Yep, you're the one that's wrong.
You never said wrong though.
Hey,
So it's just 14 pages, and that's not even the introduction.
By the way, the DVD is the one I have here. If you look at it, where it says Princess Bride,
Oh, that says bride? That says princess uncle.
it
And
says P-R-I-C-N-C-E-S-S-B-R-I-D-E.
Upside down.
Do you see orange is on top and blue is on bottom?
Yeah.
If you rotate it, it still says P-R-I-N-C-E-S-S.
It's one of those things.
And it says dog.
So it goes both ways. It's like the tattoo on my leg. You can read it both ways.
Actually, can I
What
read
does
your
it
tattoo?
say?
Could swore that said uncle.
My leg says Princess Bride on it.
Your leg does not say Princess Bride. You're a
No,
liar.
it says make fun of kids.
That says princess
Yeah,
uncle.
goofball.
So,
Yeah, I can't see it.
getting into this one, again, by the way, the irony of all of you who keep complaining, this is the part where I try to read to you and you guys keep talking over me so I can't. And then you guys end up getting more homework and then you complain more.
But it's National No Homework Day.
I know. That's why I'm not giving you the homework today. The homework is this weekend. The more I can get done this week, That's fine. I'm not making you. You guys are all welcome to fail. Hi, Elena.
So is it satire or is there social fiction?
What's that? I'm trying to teach and you guys keep talking? Let's try to go back to the me teaching part. You guys are the best. Hi, Jude.
So we have 2 weeks. By like what age do we get?
Right, that's why I'm trying to do the teaching thing. Hi, Evan.
Can we skip chapter 5 and watch the movie instead?
Right, back to here. So, I again apologize for calling on so many of you. So, with this one, it is historical fiction. But the problem is it's based on real events. It's just based on real events that you don't know. Because it's set in Europe. There's 2 countries called Gilder, and then there's the one that they are fighting against, which we'll call Florin. And so these are 2 countries that no longer exist. They got absorbed into Europe years ago. And so this one was about the royalty and about fancy rich people and fighting. Anyway, there's backstory that goes into it. The reason I like it is because it's satire, and the guy who was writing about it basically was making fun of the people the entire time. This book is my personality. This whole book is basically taking a thing that's sort of important and true and making fun of it the whole way through. Which is,
I love doing that.
that's what I
That
do.
is your personality.
I know. So that's why I enjoy the book. The problem is, if you don't find my personality entertaining, you won't find this book as entertaining either, because we're along those same lines. If you find my personality at least amusing, there are hopefully things in this book that'll go along the same lines. And yes, I know it's long, but it's also a fairly fast read. I can either give you shorter, but really confusing, or we can go longer and easier. I went for longer and easier, because I'm hoping the shorter ones that are harder, no one enjoys. On this one, those of you who aren't going to read, I don't worry about anyway, because you're not going to read. Those of you who do read, you're in for a treat. Then, to help you out with this, those of you with hands up, I'm ignoring you for a while because I learned after we asked questions. One of us has to learn in this class. With this one, the way this is set up is basically a big, long fairy tale. If you've ever seen Beauty and the Beast, like the one we just had to play for a musical here, or Princess and the Frog, those are retellings of a fairy tale. This one is sort of the idea of he took a real war that happened in Europe and then sort of combined bits of it and tried to make it more fairy tale-ish. Even though all of the things that happen in this book are true, he sort of was creative with the stuff.
He bent the truth.
If you have seen the movie Shrek, or if you've seen the movie Hoodwinked, that is closer to what this one is going to be. Where Shrek takes the idea of you have a prince, but he's kind of ugly, and you have an ogre who's supposed to be the bad guy, and he becomes the hero. That's sort of what happens in this book. There's a prince, and he turns out to be a bad guy. Spoiler, chapter 1. And then it turns out that there is this scrub kid who ends up being the hero, or trying to be, and it's sort of that changing of things as you go through.
Little Red Riding Hood.
Hi, Finfo. Yeah, that's why I keep not calling on you guys. What's up?
So if I finish the book tonight, will you give me 5 key points?
So, we're going to go ahead and skip through. There are, let me see if your guys' book works a little bit differently. I want to make sure your guys' page numbers aren't too much.
Stealing.
That's
stealing. We have 414.
Right. Find where you have giant map.
I've read this book before.
Once you get to map, then you're going to get to the one that says, this is my favorite.
Holy wait, is it in the back or in the front?
Well, the thing is that we're starting the book.
Guys, I know it's it's by wait, that's not a number. It's XLI.
I found it.
It's like after XLI.
Oh
That's
It literally says
Broski.
I got it. That's why you keep turning pages.
XLI.
We have that channel of Gilder. Gilder.
How do you know that that's a not mine.
What page is Joseph?
50, 10,
I found it. Hey guys, I think you should shush.
I'm trying to help them.
Yeah, no, by talking. I had you. They should be in my advanced class where they're smart enough to figure out things on their. Oh wait, they are.
Thank you.
So back to here. On this one, it's going to be a little bit confusing, even more so than normal for you guys who get confused just walking down a hallway. So on this one, here's the issue. On the front of the book, you see where it says William Goldman
Yes.
for the author's name. So this is sort of like that Janet Tash-G and Josh Swinson issue that we had with Gospel. This book, this version of it is the William Goldman version. The original book was written by a guy named Simon Morgenstern, which is why at the very top it'll say like S. Morgenstern's classic tale of true love, high adventure.
That's at the bottom.
Sorry, on mine it's at the
I
top.
said it first.
That was the guy who wrote the original version. The original version of this was a little over 1,000 pages.
No.
Exactly.
That's right.
So William Goldman, he sort of did I only got the best parts of it and cut out a bunch of the boring parts of the book and chopped it down from about 1,000 pages down to about 300 pages. That's where this version comes in.
Then why is it 500?
Let's be still talking, kids who are struggling with daily life. So here, what the problem is it's going to be a bit confusing as we go through book. So there's an introduction where he is going to explain how he found this book and it goes into it. I have tried skipping this introduction in the past. I can't, because what happens is throughout in Gospel, remember when he does the little footnotes at the bottom? This one he doesn't do footnotes, he does parentheses and just puts them right into the story where he does his sass. And that's William Goldman who just inserts his own sass throughout the entire book. If we don't read the introduction, the whole book gets very confusing. So that's why this week I'm going to try to speed through intro as fast as I can, given you guys are doing your best to slow me down. The good news is Goldman's personality is a lot like Morgenstern's personality, which is a lot like my personality. Sassy and mean at times. So here's the intro. We're going to find out that much like you guys, William Goldman was a kid who hated reading. Literally, the book starts off with him saying, I hate reading, people who read books are dumb. And yet, he goes on to become a famous author and then becomes famous for this version of it. And there's a story about how he went from hating reading to becoming famous author. That's where introduction comes in. And you have to sort of follow this whole thing to get there. All right. So we're going to get to the part that says, this is my favorite book in all of the world. All right.
Is it starting at page 1?
It should start on page 1 because he put himself into the actual version of it, so it's actually page 1.
So we're skipping the whole introduction?
Anything before page 1 that has that map, yes, you can skip that.
Ah.
That's extra stuff that if you want to go back and read, you can, but I was trying to cut down on how much you guys yelled at me, which already seems to be a struggle.
Yeah.
It's still a lot of books.
It is. Well, you are in an advanced class. That's kind of how it works.
Not for long.
Can I get out of this class?
Yes, again, those are all problems I can solve for you.
I already solved it.
Good job, Lucas. I'm so happy for you.
Yeah.
This is my favorite book in all the world, though I've never actually read it. Okay, how is such a thing possible? I'll do my best to explain. As a child, I, like most of Mr. Broviac's third period, had simply no interest in books. I hated reading. Cough, cough, making eye contact. I was very bad at it, and besides, how could you take the time to read when there were games that shrieked for playing and TikToks to watch? Basketball, baseball, marbles. I could never get enough. I wasn't even good at them, but give me a football and an empty playground, and I could invent last-second triumphs that would bring tears to your eyes. School was torture. Miss Roginski, who was my teacher for the 3rd through 5th grades, would have meeting after meeting with my mother. I don't feel Billy is perhaps extending himself quite as much as he might. Or, when we test him, Billy does really exceptionally well considering his class standing. Or, most often, I don't know, Mrs. Goldman, what are we going to do about Billy? By the way, for those of you who haven't figured it out, Billy is William Goldman. Billy is the nickname for William. It's just a shorter version of it. I have people who seem to get confused on
Does
that.
that make sense?
Much like Tommy is short for Thomas. It's just a nickname.
Yeah, Thomas.
Like Thomas.
What are we going to do about Billy? That was the phrase that haunted me those first 10 years. I pretended not to care, but secretly I was petrified. Everyone and everything was passing me by. I had no real friends, no single person who shared an equal interest in all games. I seemed busy, busy, busy. But I suppose if pressed, I might have admitted that for all my frenzy, I was very much alone. What are we going to do about you, Billy? I don't know, Miss Roginski. How could you have failed this reading test? I've heard you use every word with my own ears. I'm sorry, Miss Roginski. I must not have been thinking. You're always thinking, Billy. You just weren't thinking about the reading test. I could only nod. What was it this time? I don't know. I can't remember. Was it Stanley Hack again? Stan Hack. And I think I went back and found... Oh, there we go. Stanley Hack. I went back and found his baseball card for you. Stan Hack was the Cubs' third baseman for these and many other years. I saw him play once from a bleacher seat, and even at that distance, he had the sweetest smile I'd ever seen. And to this day, I swear he smiled at me several times. I just worshipped him. He could also hit a ton. Bronco Nagurski, he's a football player, a great football player. And the paper last night said he might come back and play for the Bears again. He retired when I was little, but if he came back and I could get someone to take me to a game, I could see him play, and maybe if whoever took me also knew him, I could meet him after, and maybe if he was hungry, I might let him have a sandwich I might have brought with me. I was trying to figure out what kind of sandwich Bronco Nagurski would like. I know you have trouble imagining this, but apparently William, when he was in class, did not pay attention to the teacher and started letting his imagination go wild, and instead of listening to the teacher yap on, started imagining he was meeting a famous football player and giving him a sandwich. I know. This is a big imagination stretch for you guys who pay attention to everything I say.
I do that a lot.
She just sagged at her desk. You've got a wonderful imagination, Billy. I don't know what I said. Probably thank you or something. I just can't harness it, though. Why is that? I think it's that probably I need glasses and I don't read because the words are so fuzzy. That would explain why I'm all the time squinting. Maybe if I went to an eye doctor who could give me glasses, I'd be the best reader in class and you wouldn't have to keep after me after school so much. She just pointed behind her. Get to work cleaning the blackboards, Billy. Yes, ma'am. That used to be what they did for detentions. You had to wipe down the blackboard with all the chalk dust on it. And that was like a punishment for kids.
That sounds satisfying.
I'm more happy for you. Yes, ma'am. I was the best at cleaning blackboards. What does that tell you?
He does it a lot.
Oh, it's like some of you guys who are really good at writing Simpson sheets. Do they look fuzzy? Miss Roginski finally said. Oh no, I just made that up. I never squinted either, but she just seemed so whipped about it. She always did. This had been going on for 3 grades now. I'm just not getting through to you somehow. It's not your fault, Miss Roginski. It wasn't. I just worshipped her, too. She was all dumpy and fat, but I used to... He does that throughout the entire book. He just randomly just makes fun of people and just rolls with it. Wait till you talk about his son. Whew, it's something. I just worshipped her, too. She was all dumpy and fat, but I used to wish she'd been my mother. I could never make that really come out right unless she had been married to my father first and then they'd gotten divorced and my father had married my mother, which was okay because Miss Roginski had to work, so my father got custody of me and that all made sense. Only they never seemed to really know each other, my dad and Miss Roginski. Whenever they'd meet each year during the Christmas pageant when all the parents came, I'd watch the two of them like crazy, hoping for some kind of secret glimmer or look that could only mean, well, how are you? How's your life been going since our divorce? But no soap. She wasn't my mother. She was just my teacher, and I was her own personal and growing disaster area. Huh, I have several of those. You're going to be all right, Billy? I sure hope so, Miss Roginski. You're a late bloomer, that's all. Winston Churchill was a late bloomer. So are you. I was about to ask her who he played for, but there was something in her tone that made me know enough not to. And Einstein. Him I also didn't know, or what a late bloomer was either. But boy, did I ever want to be one. Do you guys know what a late bloomer is?
Nope. Someone who like a stupid person.
Someone who does not excel early on, but then like later on they end up doing really well. Like here, he was a troubled kid, but then goes on to be a famous writer. That's a late bloomer. Kids who struggle young, but then do well later on. When I was, my next picture, I flipped up his book. When I was 26, my first novel, The Temple of Gold, was published by Alfred A. Knopf, which is now part of Random House, which is now part of RCA, which is just part of what's wrong with publishing in America today, which is not part of this story. Anyway, before publication, the publicity people at Knopf were talking to me, trying to figure what they could do to justify their salaries, and they asked who did I want to send advanced copies to that might be an opinion maker. And I said, I didn't know anybody like that. And they said, think. Everybody knows somebody. So I got all excited because the idea just came to me, and I said, oh, okay, send a copy to Miss Roginski, which I figure was logical and terrific because if anybody made my opinion, she did. She's all through the Temple of Gold, by the way, only I called her Miss Patulski. Even then I was great. And there we stop.
Not good time, man.
Tomorrow we shall continue. Hopefully.